Imagine we humans, we would be able to make space travel in bigger distance. Where would we go? Our scientific community would sit together and ask, where should we go? Let's start with our own solar system. Should we go to Jupiter? No. Jupiter is a giant. Jupiter's gravity would kill us immediately. Should we go to Mercury? No. Mercury is close to the sun. The planet's surface is very, very hot, roughly 500 degrees Celsius, etc. What should we do on Mercury? Simply burn? So, we humans, we look before we start for a planet which has similar conditions than the one we are, because we want to survive there. We want to use our tools. So we look before we start. Where do we go? The same thing happened with extraterrestrials. Whatever they came from, their home planet cannot have been completely different to us. It must be a planet similar to Earth, otherwise they could not have survived here on this planet. So the question, where did they come from? We cannot answer, but it must have been an Earth-like planet. Now our astronomers today find daily practically more planetary systems, so we have to look which ones are the closest to us. Probably they came from there. We have space probes out there. For example, some years ago, NASA has sent a space probe to the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is composed of hundreds of thousands of blocks. Some of them are very small, others are very big. The biggest of the block is an asteroid with the name of Ceres. Ceres has a diameter of 930 kilometers, quite a big block. We even speak of a small moon. Now, the NASA probe has arrived at Ceres, has surrounded Ceres, has sent wonderful pictures to our planet Earth in high quality. One of the pictures shows a rectangular in the ground. Now again, we humans look for the next reasonable scientific answer before we go to speculations. But more and more of these pictures came to the Earth, and we clearly know there are no intelligent beings up there. There is no life up there. But we find the signs of a rectangular. Somebody must have made it thousands of years ago in the past. Somewhere must have been there. Or our space probes today are on Mars. They surround Mars. A small robot with the name of Curiosity is rolling over Mars. And again, we receive pictures from the surface of the Mars. And some of these pictures clearly show structures which are not normal. Again, we look for the next plausible answer, and sooner or later we have no more plausible answer. If ethnologists visit another tribe, ethnologists try to help the tribe, but they would not tell them how to construct a weapon, for example, a rifle. They would not tell them how to construct a car, because they have nothing. They have no electricity, they have no metal, they have no nothing. So all what they give is curiosity and new genes which make them intelligent. And the development goes by itself. Time doesn't matter in the universe. We had time now 3,000–4,000 years to develop our high technological society. But that was not coincidence. We had no other way because we have curiosity in us. We will recognize the extraterrestrials because they are similar to us. They are, of course, wiser to us. Their technological standard is much more advanced than ours, because if they would not be much more advanced, they could never have reached us. You know the distance between the stars are measured in light years. So if you don't have the technology, you cannot reach it, even if they have developed something like overspeed of light. In our society, we say, according to Einstein, overspeed of light is not possible. But with the big distances, there must be a way for overspeed of light. They know it. They know the way how to do it. So they are much more advanced than we. We will recognize them. At the same time, they are wise. You know, these extraterrestrials who have technology to reach out distances of light years, they are not stupid again. These are not animal-like beings who just reach the distances to kill others. It makes no sense. They are wise, they are soft, they are helpful, they are understanding to us, and not just animals who are there to kill us like we have it in some science fiction pictures. I was one of these figures which already 30 years ago was in Colorado in the mountain called Space Command. I was one of there. At that time it was a secret visit, and I saw they observe everything around the Earth, everything. They said, you see, this is exactly the Soyuz satellite, whatever numbers it, and said, well, this is calculated. I said, no, it's exactly now over America and every position there. Of course, I asked them about UFOs. Have you ever, with your observation, see UFO? They said, of course. I said, what do you say to it? Said, we can't say nothing. They are too fast. Their speed is so incredible. And they make some maneuvers, rectangular maneuvers, which we cannot imitate. So we know for sure it's something different, but we don't have to be afraid of it. Of course, in Space Command, here in the giant mountain here, they know it, but they don't go to public. Professor Dr. John Mack was a professor at Harvard University. I knew him. We have been together just between us for quite some time. And I asked him, how many extraterrestrials do exist out there? And he said, there are 100,000 of different forms of extraterrestrials out there. Some of them are humans, and we probably only get in contact with the more or less human form of extraterrestrials. But there are 100,000 of different forms of there. We just don't know it. Other dimensional beings might well exist. My knowledge is too poor to understand this. But on the other hand, my fantasy accepts gigantic distances to beings which have no more body, which just exist in a spiritual way. This is absolutely possible. It makes sense. It could even be that in our evolution, some 100,000 years in the future, we do not need our body anymore, because we don't need to be fed anymore and to drink and whatever. So we leave our body and we become spiritual intelligences. I think this makes a certain sense, at least in my dreams. We travel around our planet. We know all existing cultures today. And there are still cultures which are in a stage of Stone Age, somewhere in the upper Amazon River, etc. But none of them are slaves of extraterrestrials. Zecharia Sitchin, my colleague who died, he was of the opinion in the past, thousands of years ago, the extraterrestrials used us as slaves. And it makes a certain sense, because they used our labor, our work, etc. But today, I don't see this anymore. We would know it. We know the cultures on Earth. We have satellites all over. We can visit all the cultures. None of them is enslaved by extraterrestrials. We have religions, and we are educated in our religions, and now we learn that most of these things are wrong. So we lose our ground. We lose our reason of life. We say we have been living here and praying, and we went to church and we were adoring some gods and making designs and technology in the name of them. And now we realize it was not spiritual, it was all extraterrestrials. They are technologically ahead of us. They simply visit us. We are the primitives in their eyes. So we will lose a lot. And a contact between extraterrestrials and us in the beginning would be a shock. That's why, by the way, they do it in a soft way, with crop circles, etc. They had the technology to do it in a hard way, but they do it in a soft way, and because they understand how we react. So it's reasonable, even from the scientific community, and sometimes even for the government, to go forward in a slow way with that information, not just shock mankind. I have many speeches worldwide, and my lectures are quite impressive. You see wonderful things. And at the end of every speech, I say to the audience, dear ladies and gentlemen, this is not a question of believe it or not. I would turn myself in my tomb if some idiots come up and make a sort of religion or sect of Erich von Däniken's knowledge. So why I am doing what I'm doing? Because I want that mankind see all this information from the past from another angle, which brings us another answer and another spirit of the world. That's my duty. I want to change the spirit of time. I guess some of the astronomers, some of the genetics, they know already what is going on, but they do not go to public because their own colleagues say, please don't. You make us ridiculous. You make our scientific society ridiculous because the people will not believe it to you. We have to do it softly, step by step, not just like a shock. And I think this is the feeling of the ETs too. Do it softly, not shock the humans. I met in my life different people from the scientific community or from the military community who showed me and expressed me something which I should not go to public, but I know it, I have seen it. This is why I am so sure, so self-sure that I'm sitting on the right horse. I know much more than what I publish, because some things should not be published.